Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to a new vlog. Today is Monday the 28th and it's a Monday. Weirdly enough, Mondays are sometimes my favorite work day of the week, for reasons specific to my job, but so yeah, today's not a horrible day. I wanted to do a weekly reading vlog because I tried to vlog this weekend and failed. So yeah, things that are going on this week. Wednesday I have my library book club. We are reading Flowers for Algernon, and I started listening to the audiobook because the writing style was not conducive to my brain. And so I've got a lot of that left to do because I just started the audiobook this morning. So far my thoughts on it, it hurts. If you don't know anything about this book, this man, Charlie Gordon, born with an unusually low IQ. Basically, he has learning disabilities. And they do this surgery on him to make him smarter. And right now he's just like being really, like he does these progress reports about his life, and he's basically just being treated horribly by all of the people that he thinks are friends. And it kills me. I hate people. I hate people. Anyway. Do I like it so far? I wouldn't go as far to say that I like this book. I think it's an interesting concept. I'm curious to see where it goes, as it can, I think, potentially be super harmful and a book that should not be read anymore. Other books that I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading Restore Me by J.L. Seegars. This is an indie author, Kindle Unlimited read, and oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. I am such a huge fan of this book. Oh my god. Basically, it's about this woman who, her husband died 4 years ago, and she's finally deciding that she wants to date again, and she is interacting with her husband's best friend, who she's thought has always hated her. They've always had this kind of enemies kind of situation going on, but he's always loved her. He's always loved her, and they have always had this kind of like bickering, just death glare kind of relationship, even though he's always loved her. And of course there's this guilt from, like, she's still really close with her late husband's family, like his mother, so her mother-in-law is more of a mother to her than her actual mother. She's best friends with his sister, so they're all very close still, and so there's that guilt of them like finding out, and will they hate her for starting this relationship with her, you know, dead husband's best friend. So there's a lot of drama and angst, and it's so good. This is also the author's debut novel, which is so exciting. Like, I've been following her on TikTok for a while, and she just released it either beginning of February or the end of January, I think. I could be wrong about that. But like, I applaud her. Like, she's got like a good book here. Like, good for her. It's so good. It took me a little bit to get into the beginning, but I think that's just because I've been in a reading slump. But when I finally got into it, I just did not want to stop reading. I had to force myself last night when it was like around 11 o'clock. It's like, if you want to get a good 8 hours, put the book down. So I did. Oh my god, I'm so good though. So that's 2 of the 3 books I'm currently reading. The last book that I am currently reading is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, the second Crescent City book, which I'm about maybe an 1/8 into. I'm on chapter 14, I believe. I'm listening to the audiobook for that as well, which I'll take a break from it until I finish Flowers for Algernon. So we'll see when that happens. So far, House of Sky and Breath, because this is like my one toxic trait when it comes to books and reading. If there is so much hype and like praise around a book, I will find the thing that's wrong with it. It's terrible. And like, it's not like I'm looking for things that aren't there. Like, I will then purposefully read to find something that's wrong with it, which is terrible. I hate that about myself, but it's just the way that it works. But yeah, so far I'm just kind of meh. It's a little boring. Like, a lot of people are saying like this book is her best book, her best series, and I mean, I can see how if you've read all of her series you might think that, especially as you read the ending. I know how it ends because I was spoiled. I went looking for the spoilers though, so I don't mind. So yeah, I mean, if you love her books, all of them, and you know how it ends, I would see how you think that this is why you love this book, but I haven't finished Throne of Glass, so yeah. If you want to be spoiled, somebody did post a picture of the last page of the book, which you could probably Google and find, or you can find it on TikTok, and trust me, if you like spoilers, it's worth it. It's a good one. It's a good spoiler. I was like, ooh, I understand why so many people are upset that this was posted. But I love spoilers, so I was just like, yes, give it to me. Okay, my break is over, and instead of reading, I talked to you, so I'm gonna go back to work and catch you later. I'm on my second break of the day, and I've been pretty successful so far today with my reading. Just saying, like, I have my curtains open, the sun is shining, I'm feeling good. Anyway, I'm up to 30% through Flowers for Algernon. Feels I don't like feeling. And I'm at 60% of Restore Me. I would like to finish this today so I can add it to my February wrap-up, since the last day of February is today. If only this was a leap year, I'd have more time. But as it stands, I'm on page 269. I think this book is like 450 pages, so quite a lot to read in order to finish this today, which means I really can't do anything after work except have dinner. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep reading now, finish up my work day, have dinner, and then get back to reading. I just finished. 4 stars. Fantastic book. I just... so good. I will say the pacing was definitely off for me, and kind of the timing, like the timing in general. Like, this book is supposed to span a couple of weeks, and yet it feels like forever. Honestly, a little bit too long, but we all know I love short books, so that's my only issue with it. Other than that, it is the perfect book. It was so good. But now I'm tired, so I'm gonna get ready for bed. And maybe I'll talk more about it tomorrow, maybe not. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is almost time for work. And I'm gonna take this time to talk about Restore Me by J.L. Seegars, which I finished last night. I'm not really giving ratings right now for myself. Most of the time if I read a book, it's just on a rating of how much I recommend it. So if this book, I'd probably give, 4.5 stars. Like I said last night, the only issue I really have with it is the fact that it's just like way too long. It's like over 450 pages, and there are a lot of spicy scenes in this, and sometimes it is too much. They get a bit repetitive, and so I just feel like it's kind of a waste of time. But you know me, I like short books. I like succinct stories. So that is my really only complaint. I feel like for an indie author's debut novel, I was pleasantly surprised by the writing style. Like, almost perfect. As perfect as you can be for somebody who doesn't care about grammar when it comes to, books. I really liked the story. I feel like it's very Hallmark-esque. I don't know, maybe maybe more Lifetime. I don't know. But it's about Sloane, who her husband died 4 years ago, and so she is finally ready to start dating again because she's feeling very lonely, and specifically she describes, what does she call it? Touch starvation. You know, after being married for a few years and then going from like being, you know, with somebody all the time and being touched by a person all the time and then going from nothing at all, and how that affected her and how she thought it was affecting her feelings for Dominic, who she thought she's always hated. And yeah. So she decides to start dating again, and he, of course, Dominic, has always loved her and doesn't want her to date anyone, because he's super, he's like, I feel like in the beginning he's not very like, oh, this is my chance, but he's more just like, if I can have this now, I'm gonna shoot my shot. And so they develop this kind of agreement that for a certain amount of weeks that they will be together so that she can, you know, cure her touch starvation or whatever, and he can get what he wants finally. And of course they both develop feelings, but it's a good book. I like the whole aspect of Dominic being her late husband's best friend and being a part of, you know, her in-laws' family. Like, he's more part of their family than his own, and so that part where Sloane herself feels like they're going to hate her for, you know, starting this relationship with him. Now, I don't want to spoil it, but it's not 100%, that aspect is not 100% resolved, but what was resolved I felt was done very well. And I feel like there was a book that I read maybe last year where it was a similar situation, and oh, it was Skin and Ink. I don't know if it was the same exact situation, but it was like late husband's friend or whoever, and Skin and Ink, I think it's by Naomi Stone. That sounds completely wrong. I don't remember the author's name, but I felt like the entire book was just them feeling guilty, which is not fun to read about. So I feel like this one did a good job because you don't get that at all. Like, there's that guilt, but it's not the main focal point of their story. So I appreciated that because it was really annoying in that other book, which is why I did not like the other one. This one is a better version of that to me. And you definitely get those, like, those pining vibes from specifically the hero, Dominic, who's loved her forever, and you get some flashbacks from different parts of their life. It's just so heartbreaking. But I loved it. It's a great book. Great ending. Highly recommend. So today I'm going to try to listen to as much of Flowers for Algernon as possible. Got book club tomorrow. I'm not too worried about it. I'm currently at 30-ish%, and it's reading pretty quickly. I think the audiobook's only like 9 hours, and I'm listening to it on 2 times speed. So it's going pretty fast. And then once I finally finish that, it's time to pick a new book. It's about 4 o'clock now, and I am about 50% through Flowers for Algernon, just reading some of the audiobook. And I feel like sometimes you just have to go on Goodreads to read reviews to kind of help you figure out how you yourself feel about a book, and I definitely need to do that because as I'm reading this, I really want to know, like, as readers we can interpret how or why an author writes a book, But I really want to know what Daniel Keyes, like, what his motivation was. What was his purpose in writing the book? I want to know his purpose, not what we interpret it as, because I don't know. I just don't know how to view this book. Like, it's oh my god, it's so hard. So basically, so far, Charlie gets the surgery and he is becoming smarter, and like at this point he gets fired from his job because people are afraid of him, and then also like he has a hard time relating to people because, like, I feel like at this point, like, he is like intelligently, like, he's an intelligent person, like, book smart, he reads a lot, he knows a ton of different languages, but emotionally he doesn't have very good emotional intelligence, which is just a product of like how he grew up and situational things. So it's kind of like it sucks because on one hand, like, he got smarter, but he's more lonely, and it's kind of just like, it's just like a hard thing to think about, because before, like, people treated him like crap, but he didn't realize it, and his life was good as far as he knew. Now he questions everything, everyone's motivations, and he has a hard time connecting with people, and he now realizes that people were making fun of him like all his life, and it's just like it's one of those things where, like, I mean, obviously I don't know how it's gonna end. This is my first time reading this book, BT dubs, so I don't know if, like, maybe he's going to in the end talk about, like, whether he regrets going through the surgery and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. But then I also know that something is coming, because the experiment appears to be a scientific breakthrough of paramount importance. Until Algernon suddenly deteriorates, will the same happen to Charlie? So that's my question, like, does he get a burst of book smarts and then goes back to not being able to retain information or remember anything, or to read social cues and all of that stuff? So right now I don't like this book. Not because it's not good, it's just making me uncomfy. And my reading life has changed into a lot of, I mean, like, I still read things that make me uncomfortable, but for a purpose. And I hope to God that there's a purpose for this book, like, that it's clear by the ending, that we get some kind of, I don't want to say satisfaction, or I don't know, like, I don't know, like, I want it to come to fruition in a way that makes me not feel good per se, but just, like, makes me understand, you know? So yeah, this book also won the Hugo Award and the Nebula Award. It was also adapted into a movie, which I didn't know that. I just read the last page. I shouldn't do that. Anyway, since I'm 50% into the book and I have all tomorrow to listen to the audiobook, I'll probably listen to a little bit more of it tonight and play The Sims, but I want to start a new book that will actually bring me joy, because that is what I want out of reading. So what book should I read? From my my March TBR, should I read Electric Idol? Maybe. It's weird because towards, like, the middle half to the end of last year, I only wanted to read books on my Kindle. And if I wasn't reading a book on my Kindle, if I was trying to read it physically, I just wouldn't read it. But now I feel like I'm getting back into wanting to read physical books. So I might read this tonight. But I don't know. Also, oh no, I know what I'm gonna read. Oh my god. Katee Robert. She wrote a novella for this series, the Dark Olympus series, for Medusa and Calypso, and I like Medusa's my favorite like Greek mythological character, but I never really thought of her in a relationship aspect, which I'm okay with, but in a sapphic setting I feel like this could be amazing. So I'm so excited. That is what I'm going to read tonight because I downloaded it today, and it also is free at the moment. That could change. I don't know. I'm sorry about the glare in my glasses. I'm trying to avoid that. It might be free for a while. I don't know, but I will try to link it below. But yeah, that's what I'm going to read today. I'm so excited now. It's a novella too, so I should be able to finish it in one day. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's another beautiful sunny day. I wanted to talk about my reading. I got to 75% of the audiobook yesterday of Flowers for Algernon. I know how this book is going to end because I read the last page yesterday accidentally on purpose. And it's sad. I mean, I knew it was going to be sad. I still don't know how to feel about it. I just feel sad and unsettled, and I'm glad that vocabulary has changed. But I also made it 72% through Stoneheart. I did not end up finishing it last night. My time kind of got away from me, and I'm also not loving it. And my issue with the series is that there's not sufficient world building to understand what's going on, and it's really driving me nuts. Like 13 Olympians that are like titles. They're not actually like the, you know, Greek gods. They're just titles. But like, it doesn't really explain like what that entails. Do they have powers? Like, what's going on there? And then like when they cross from like Olympus or the upper city to the lower city, like there is a force that physically pains them to go through it, but they don't explain that. So I'm like, so there is like a supernatural element to this book, but it's not explained. And like, I don't usually need explanations, but there's like so little explained in this world that it's just like, it's confusing, and it's just like, I don't know what to think about it. Like, I feel like these are questions that need to be answered, which we'll see if that'll happen in Electric Idol. I'm kind of confused because Electric Idol pretty sure has the same setup as Stoneheart, which is weird that she would use that twice. But basically, someone, in this one it's Eros, in Stoneheart it's Medusa, is sent to kill another person. In Stoneheart it's Calypso, in this it's Psyche. And they end up not killing them and falling in love instead. But there's also, like, it's not just Olympus in this world. Like, they're, in Stoneheart, Medusa tells Calypso, you can escape. You can leave Olympus. There are people who will let you leave Olympus, or, like, help you leave Olympus. I need more. I'm just saying that. I need more. I'm trying to finish Stoneheart before work. I know I'm not going to be successful, but I remembered one of the things that I did not like last night, that I was just like, okay, I'm done for now. So, I don't mind insta-love. I don't. I mean, books are short. Sometimes they don't span that much time. It's inevitable. It doesn't bother me. For a novella, it definitely shouldn't bother me. And normally it doesn't. It just depends on the placement. Like, insta-love can be done well. It is not done well in this book. They've known each other less than 24 hours, and Calypso thinks to herself, I think I'm falling in love with her. And I'm just like, no. 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 in these less, like, maybe, I don't even know, like maybe 4 hours that they've known each other. They've only been in each other's presence for maybe 30 minutes. Like for real, like they don't know anything about each other except like from what they like know of like gossip and rumors and stuff like that. So I'm just that's a no from me, ma'am. No thank you. I just finished Stoneheart, is that what it's called? Not a fan. I hope this does not become a trend because I really want to like this book so bad. But yeah, so finished that novella, and I have my next novella that I'm gonna start. I got Beautiful Bombshell in by Christina Lauren, which I'm doing my whole reread of Christina Lauren's backlist. So I'm excited. I'm gonna read that, hopefully, maybe possibly get that finished today so I can finally reread Beautiful Player, which is my favorite of the series, one of my all-time favorite romance novels. I'm so excited. The workday is over, huzzah. I decided to give you an update in a different place because I realized up until now this entire video has been me sitting on on my reading chair, so I apologize if that was boring for you, if you need different scenery. But I did manage to finish Flowers for Algernon. I have book club, and like I said earlier how like I wasn't sure how to feel about this book, so I looked at some reviews, and I feel like I found some reasoning or some explanation on how I'm feeling and like how other people felt about it. And that this book was written in the 60s, and you can definitely tell. First of all, they use specific language that was okay at that time for mentally disabled people. I will not say it here because I am uncomfortable saying it, and it made me cringe every time I heard them say the word, which was like practically multiple times per page. So I don't enjoy that part, so it definitely didn't age well in that way. And also the author has characterization, okay? The author has written every single woman as a specific stereotype. None of them have any nuance. What I'm missing from this book is the discussion on ethics. Is it ethical to have, I mean this is science fiction obviously, but to have this surgery to make a better person, you know? Because people have been trying to do this in different ways, like not intelligence focused, but like surgery or something, eugenics, to make better people. The scientists who, you know, went through all of this, like not taking responsibility for what they did, you know? So also, any discussion really on how people view people with mental disabilities. Because there is no actual discussion on it. It's just like observations. We see that like Charlie is treated terribly, and he doesn't realize it until, you know, he becomes smarter, and he makes that observation, but there's no discussion about it. There's like, he practically treats like he visits this institution, and he practically treats those people who are there, like he thinks about them in the same way. Did I like this book? No. Did I hate it? No. I feel like meh about it. And I like so many of the reviews on Goodreads where people are like, I don't cry during books, but at the end of this I just could not stop crying. I'm like, did not shed one tear. Does that make me heartless? I mean, it was sad for him to, you know, gain all of this intelligence and relating to people and then losing all of it. But at the same time, I just feel like the book wasn't written well enough for me to care. Not a fan. As far as book club, let's predict what my book club members will say. I would say the majority, if not everyone, will say that they liked the book and they thought it was an easy read. I'm pretty sure every single person will say that. Book club is over. I'm having a snack. Oh, I will say that the majority of people liked the book. But I was wrong in saying that everyone would. It was actually like the majority won by one person. So, like, discussions about Flowers for Algernon are probably better than the actual book itself. This book, as I stated in book club, would be very different if it was written today. One, because we understand mental disabilities and intellectual disabilities more. My Amazon packages were just delivered. And so, like, because we understand things differently now, and we treat mostly like, you know, there are still awful human beings in this world. There always will be, because people are trash. You know, so there are still people who will treat people with these types of disabilities, they'll treat them poorly. But there is greater understanding and greater empathy in the world for people who are different, you know? Like, I feel like now with neurodivergency being like a bigger topic of discussion right now, people just feel more empathy towards others, and also realizing that being different isn't a bad thing. Having certain disabilities or certain, like, different ways that your brain works is not a bad thing. So obviously this book would be very different if it was written today. Also, the language would be entirely different, and the writing would be different. Hopefully this was written by my hand. Poor portrayals of women. Very stereotypical, one-dimensional characters, and harmful stereotypes, I would say. So I feel like the discussion about this book is so much more interesting than the actual book, because the book doesn't mention anything about ethics. Is it ethical to do this type of surgery on Charlie, who has intellectual disabilities, so he cannot knowingly consent to this surgery? Somebody, like, one of his family members had to consent for him, basically. But he doesn't understand the consequences or the side effects of doing something, like what this could happen, like what it could affect. And, you know, in the beginning of the book, he's so excited because he's gonna get smarter. Even though, like, they tried to emphasize, like, they don't know if it'll last, he doesn't understand that. He doesn't get that, you know? So ethically, like, they don't discuss ethics at all. Glad I'm done with this book, and it's a book that I will be unhauling. I have no desire to read it again. I don't think I will ever recommend it to anyone to read. So I'll be getting rid of that. So yeah, I'm gonna go get my Amazon packages. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. One more day left of this week, and then I get to do things. So let's see, last night I just ended up binge watching a lot of House, and reading a little bit more of my novella, but I'm gonna finish that hopefully now. Got about 20 minutes before I have to start working, and about like 40% of the novella left, so hopefully I can finish that up real quick. It is noonish, and today's already been a hellish day, and made myself a second cup of coffee, iced this time, because I need it. My head is killing me. I finished Beautiful Bombshell this morning. This novella I actually like a lot more than the other one. It's so good, because it's pretty much like the characters from the first book. So Bennett, he and Chloe are getting married, and so Bennett's friends take him to Vegas for his bachelor weekend, and then Chloe ends up showing up, and it's cute. And they get up to, like, sexy shenanigans, and it's really funny. And then the last scene is just, like, so sweet, and I love it so much. Love it so much. Okay, so now I can read something else. I'm not currently reading anything besides my classic, but don't feel like reading that, so I want to read something. What do I want to read? Just looking at my TBR cart, I do have a fantasy that I've been wanting to read, and a coupon for buy one fresh baked cookie, get 50% off a second. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna read this right now. I want to read, what do I want to read? I don't know. I would like to read a fantasy romance. Maybe I'll finish off the vampire novella series by Katee Robert. I think the last one's called Air. which I should finish because the spin-off to it, which is The Dragon's Bride, comes out this month? Next month? It comes out soon. So I should read that soon. Maybe that's what I'll do. I want to read something fantasy-like, so. And it's short and sweet, so. I think I'm settled on that. I'm gonna start reading. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'll be happy when this Friday is over. Last night I ended up like getting into bed at like 9:30 and going to sleep at 10 because I was so tired. But I started and finished a little novella that I saw recommended by Jessica from whatever, on her TikTok. And it was Thin Ice by Cassie, which was a figure skating age gap forbidden romance between coach and the skater. Which was just, it was mediocre, I would say. The author spent way too much time talking on this 77-page novella talking about like the effect of the sport on athletes' bodies, and I'm like, we all know this. I think everyone could probably assume that falling on the ice 100 times is gonna hurt yourself, you know? So it was a little unnecessary and very annoying, and I just wanted more romance in it. Honestly, I feel like this book could have done very well as a full-length novel. Like, I think it would have been so good as a full-length novel. As a novella, it was just kind of meh. It was mediocre. So I finished that. So I want to finish the third Katee Robert vampire book, which I learned is called Queen. I keep calling it Air. It's actually Queen. And I did start reading it yesterday. I typically don't mind like the pregnancy trope unless it's like a full plot point of the book. Like, if it's just something that happens at the end, whatever, I don't care. But the fact that it's a whole thing, I don't care for that. Basically, this book is about this woman who is she's, I guess, part human, part vampire, but she doesn't have any vampire powers. And her father sacrifices her to be like a personal blood bank for this really ancient vampire. And things escalate from there. This book is romance, but it is heavy on the fantasy plot. So if you like romance, fantasy romance, but you actually want like a lot of plot, I definitely recommend this series. They're all novellas, but I mean, put them together and you get a full book, right? So I definitely recommend it. It has a good plot. And I hope to finish that today, because then if I do, I can spend all day tomorrow reading and finish an actual book instead of a novella. Which I don't know what I want to read yet, but we'll see. Oh, I do have, maybe while I'm working today, I'll listen to, I bought the Hazelwood, who wrote The Love Hypothesis, had her new release, which is a novella, come out, but right now it's only out as an audiobook, which I find very strange. But I did buy that through Libro FM, so I might read that today while working. I need today to be over. Thank you. Anyway, I do have a book update. I started listening to Under One Roof by Hazelwood, and I have to say the narrator is annoying as crap. I don't know if this is how she usually talks or this is how she's interpreting the character to speak, but she speaks, every single sentence has an upward inflection at the beginning of the sentence. Every single sentence. It's so annoying. And I want to stop, but I can't read it as an ebook because it's not available yet. But basically what it's about is this woman is, her grandmother dies, I think, and she leaves her this house. But the grandmother, she didn't own, like, she didn't fully own the house. It was half owned by another family, and that other family died, and so it's now owned on that end by, like, the grandson or whoever, whatever. And he wants the house and wants to buy it from her, but she wants the house. And so she kind of just shoves in and decides to be his roommate and yeah. He's a lawyer for an oil company, and she works for the Environmental Protection Agency. I love it. I love that dynamic. I'm really excited to see where it goes, but so far we get like the prologue is like 6 months later, and it's just like, ooh. And then it starts with chapter 1 and it's like 6 months ago. And it's just, oh my god, I love it so much. Except for the narrator. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. After work last night, I just checked out because it was bad, horrible, even worse. Last 5 minutes of work, though, solid. I had an issue that I was dealing with all day, and it was getting really frustrating because I couldn't contact anyone. I couldn't get straight answers from anyone. And finally, 5 minutes before 6, my coworker calls me and says, "Hey, we got this person back. I'm taking care of it." And I was just like, thank you for everything. Because I felt like if I had to wait for an answer about that specific thing, my weekend would have been terrible, because I would have been thinking about it all weekend long, and then I would have dreaded coming into work on Monday because I was just like, I would know, like, I have this thing like hanging over me. So I felt very relieved, a lot better after that, but I was still just like done for the rest of the day. I just wanted to eat junk food, read, and go to bed. So I did do that. And I did manage to finish novella number 4. I read Under One Roof by Hazelwood, and I loved it. Loved it so much. It's kind of interesting because I'm noticing that a lot of people actually don't like this novella, but I felt like this novella was really well done, and that I felt like the chemistry between the two characters was believable, and that it didn't feel like insta-love. I just felt it was like a good development of their relationship, and I loved it so much. The audiobook, even though the narrator was very annoying, I got past it and still really enjoyed it. So once the actual ebook comes out, I'm probably going to purchase it in that form as well. I think it comes out in May. But the audiobook is available for everyone to purchase. I bought it through Libro FM, and I think it's also pretty cheap too. It's not as expensive as, you know, most audiobooks can be like $30. But yeah, highly recommend. I really loved it. It's about 3.5 hours. So good. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the vlog now, and that means I finished 2 full-length novels and read 4 novellas this week, which is like, I can't believe that. I find that very awesome because it's been so long since I've read that much. I mean, yeah, they're novellas and some of them were really short compared to the others, but I still feel very accomplished. I've been like January and February been in like really bad reading slump, so I feel a lot better, been getting a lot of reading in. Yeah. Very happy with my reading this week. A lot of good books. So to recap, finished Restore Me by J.L. Seegars. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommend. I think everyone who loves romance should read this book. It's fantastic. Definitely check your trigger warnings. This book is pretty heavy. There's a lot of different things in here that could be triggering. So definitely look into that. Then I finished Flowers for Algernon for my book club and didn't love it, but I enjoyed the conversation around it. So meh. Also, I guess could be pretty triggering to a lot of people. A lot of negative stereotypes, a lot of bullying, grief, like a ton of stuff. And so then the 4 novellas, what were they? I read Beautiful Bombshell by Christina Lauren, which I really enjoyed. It's very fun and spicy, and the ending is super sweet. Loved it. I finished Thin Ice by Cassie Mint, which was very mediocre, but I'm telling you, this book as a full-length novel could be one of my favorite sport romances I've ever read. So I feel like she missed out on that, but it was fine. And then, of course, I finished Under One Roof. What was the 4th novella? Pause. Stoneheart by Katee Robert. it's understandable why I forgot about that, because I'm probably repressing the fact that I was very disappointed in this novella. This novella is a case of a novella that I don't feel like works well as a novella at all. It was very insta-lovey, which I don't usually have an issue with insta-love because I think insta-love can be done well. I don't feel like it was done well in this situation. And I think it just hits harder because like Medusa is my favorite like Greek mythological character, figure, whatever. So it was a little disappointing in that way. But yeah, I'm still going to be reading Electric Idol. I still hear a lot of good things. It's a full-length novel, so hopefully it helps. I don't know. So finished 2 novels, 4 novellas, started another novella, Queen by Katee Robert, and then also I did something a little crazy last night for me. I think previously, I don't know if I've ever talked about it, how I don't like serial killer things because I feel like people like glamorize serial killers, like with Dexter, for example, saying it's okay because he's killing bad people. I disagree. And I don't like, I just don't like the spotlight that serial killers get. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, there is a fad right now with serial killer romances, which 2 things that seem like that sounds like something that's impossible, you know, but it's fiction, so I'm trying to just like take it as it is, as fiction. So I started reading Sophie Lark's serial killer romance. I think the first one's called There Are No Saints. Surprisingly, I don't hate it. I read the first 60 pages of it last night and I'm actually pretty into it. So far, like the romance hasn't even, like it's not on page yet at all. So I'm really curious how we get there. But yeah, so far it's these 2 serial killers who are also artists and they've been like lifelong rivals. And they're, you know, like they never crossed the line to like get at each other, but they finally did with this one woman who things happen to her, she escapes-ish, and so at this point nothing has happened with like the romance part, like it's not there yet. So I'm curious to see how it goes there, but like I don't hate this book. I'm finding it very interesting. I'm trying to separate the whole, this is fiction, but I think it's just like Sophie Lark. This is the first book that I've read by her, but I've heard so many good things about her. And also I follow her on TikTok. Her and her husband, OTP, I'm just saying. Like they are the most adorable people in the world and her husband is so supportive of her and I just like, it's beautiful. Anyway, so maybe it's just because I love her TikTok so much that I want to love her books as well. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I think her writing style is actually pretty good. So I say actually like it's surprising or something. It's not, but yeah, so we'll see where that goes, but I'm gonna end the vlog here. So I'm gonna keep you in suspense until my monthly wrap up to figure out how I felt about this book. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I am sorry that it's all like mostly from one angle. It's too cold for me to go outside and also like I work from home. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it and sticking around until the end. If you're still here and you want to let me know, put a cereal emoji in the comments because if you know, you know. And I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye.